Hey, what's up guys? Kaiser here, and I'm back with a segment that I used to do in the old days of these videos and the podcast stuff I was doing, and that's our book reviews. In these reviews, I'm not just doing these for my health. I want them to benefit you. I want to expose you to some new information, to tools and resources that are going to help you with your fitness, obviously, and in general. Fitness is a whole thing. It's like a holistic thing. That's kind of a buzzword these days, but it's very true. If your life is a mess, if your headspace is a mess, if things are going on and they're not right, you're not going to give the proper attention to your body. Everything goes hand in hand. So today's book isn't necessarily a fitness book per se, but it will help you get your life organized. It will help you get to your best self. And the name of the book is The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, The Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing. It's by a woman named Marie Kondo. That's her right there. She's been on Oprah, so obviously, this is going to be like an entertaining and interesting book. She's going to be an interesting person. She works with a lot of celebrities. We all know that celebrities are super smart, right? So she must be good in that case. I'm being a little sarcastic there. But whatever the case, the book itself is good. It had a major impact on me. I've recommended it to a lot of people. I've actually given it to our entire team here at Better Body, and they've all raved to me about it. Now think about it, we all could use some help with this, with decluttering, with tidying up. There's something about human nature that we want to hoard. We want to be hoarders. I think in the caveman days, people were hunters and gatherers. So if you gathered and you had a lot of stuff, maybe that was a good thing. I think a lot of us have picked up this hoarding habit from our parents. I know I certainly have. Many of them grew up, let's face it, in poor backgrounds, not as much abundance as we have now, maybe in a lot of war-torn types of areas. So they wanted stuff around them, that was fine. But if you want a better life, if you're feeling like your life is just too cluttered, if your living space is too cluttered, but I think with a lot of us, our lives are too cluttered, well, this book is gonna help you out a lot. Now, what's the main thing I like about this book? The main thing you're gonna take away is that it has a very opposite, a contrarian way of looking at cleaning up from everything else that you see out there and everything that you probably already know about cleaning up. Now, what do we usually think of when we think about organizing? We think about putting everything in its right place. We have a store called the Container Store just to put things in boxes and make them look organized. Well, what Marie says is that's totally wrong. You shouldn't be trying to organize. I guess her metaphor for your life is people are just trying to cram more stuff in. She wants you to eliminate, and I couldn't agree more. First off, with how contrarian, again, that philosophy is. When it comes to life, I'm always looking for ideas and beliefs that are the opposite of what the norm is and what the majority are doing. And I think that you should be looking at the same thing. The majority of people are not where they want to be financially. The overwhelming majority are not where they want to be physically. So if you're doing all the same things as other people, if you're putting things in containers, watching the same shows, living the same type of lifestyle, where do most people work out? In a big box gym. Obviously, there's more of them, they can hold more members, and nobody gets in shape there. So whenever I discover a contrarian philosophy, something that's just against the grain, you know what? It's usually right. And that's Marie's philosophy. And you know what? I don't want to obviously read you the book, right? This would be a very long video if I did. But maybe assuming, you won't have time to get the book, or if I can convince you to get it, convince you a little more to get it. Here, let me read you a few of the headlines. So her first chapter is, why can't I keep my house in order? Tidying marathon doesn't cause rebound. What she means by that is she just wants you to go and just clean everything up and throw away a whole bunch of stuff all at once. You know, what do a lot of us feel like we're doing? Like we're constantly cleaning. And why is that? Because you have too much stuff. Why you should aim for perfection. See how, you know, different is that than everything else you hear out there. The moment you start, you reset your life. I love stuff like that. Storage experts or hoarders, I already talked about that. So that's just the first chapter. This table of contents is pretty good in that every 2 to 3 pages is in here. So you'll be able to just go back to the book and pull out whatever you want. Don't let your family see. What she means by that is you'll probably be throwing stuff out that they like but don't need. Tidying by category works like magic. That's a subject, that's a chapter header. Storing your things to make your life shine. Now she relates this all a lot back to the happiness, the joy, the peace of mind, the serenity you're gonna feel from having a clear and decluttered space, from just throwing away all of the crap that, just let's be honest, you're never gonna wear, you're never gonna need, you're never going to even read. That's a big thing here. She talks about throwing away most of your books. Now, a lot of us, even me, we're like, oh, books signify knowledge, you should never throw that away. Well, first off, we might not throw it away, we would donate it. But she's like, you're not going to read most of that stuff anyway. She talks about seminars. Now, I go to a lot of seminars, learn a lot of things, and I always like to keep the notes. How often have I gone back to them? Hardly ever. So what she talks about, and a lesson I learned, is that when you go to somewhere, whether it's an event or something like that, it's about the experience. It's not about bringing stuff home that's going to take up space. The magic of tidying up dramatically transforms your life. That's another subject header, and obviously I feel that same way about fitness. I wrote an entire book about that every part of your life comes back to fitness, and she relates the same thing to tidying up. And it's very true. You know, a lot of these things, there's a saying that what you do one place is what you do everywhere. So when you get one of these areas handled, you can overlay that same approach, that same habit to every other area. When it comes to tidying up, will that get you more fit? No. But a lot of you, from a lot of people that I hear that don't join Better Body, that give me excuses, is that they need to tidy up their life, that they tell me they don't have time. Well, how do you not have time for the most essential part of life that gives value to everything else, that will eventually cut your time on earth short? That you don't feel good in how you look, how you feel, how you project yourself. You have anxiety and all this stuff going on, but you're still not making time. It's because your life is cluttered. So if you could learn to tidy up your place, imagine what you could do with your house. You probably would make time for fitness. People tell me that they don't have the money. So if $30, like they'll tell me I'm gonna go to some other gym that costs $70, whereas will cost $130, $150, whatever the case may be. So then your expenses are too cluttered. You're spending money on nonsense instead of spending an extra $50 or $60 on probably the best thing you could be spending on. So again, I don't have a lot of patience for that. It's a lot of excuses, but what it goes to show is people's lives are too cluttered, so they could learn a lesson from Marie on their life and their finances. All right, let's keep going here. Oh, that was it. All right, so I read you a few of the subject lines. I read you a few of the chapter or little segment headers. Your real life begins after putting your house in order. You know, one great thing she talked about in this book is how a lot of times we'll tidy up, and you can probably relate, when we least have time for it. One example she makes is that when she was a student, right before she had a test, when she had to cram, when she had no time, when studying was important, what do people do a lot of times? You know, I definitely used to do this, is you'll start cleaning your desk off. Like there's something subconsciously you understand that I can't get in the right mental space to do some serious damage unless I have a clear workspace. You know, I often find myself, when I clean my place up, when I tidy up and throw stuff away, is when I'm about to go somewhere, when I'm about to like dress up, go out in the world, maybe I'm running late. I realize that I want my place in order, like I want my life to feel good so that I feel good. So it's something subconscious in us that we start to clean up at the times when we least have time for it. And she understands that. She relates that back to just how we all have this internal sense that that tidying up, that being decluttered is essential to our mental health. So again, guys, I can't recommend this book enough. It's such a bestseller. Maybe you've read it already, so maybe it's time for a reread. Okay, so that's it for today's little segment. Again, reading is underrated, but one of the most important things you can do. So if you want to get on a big reading kick for 2019, this will be one of the books to start with. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope it changes your life, and you'll be hearing from me soon. Take care.